Yeah, hey everyone, this is Dwayne with Dwayne's Diagnostics again, doing another video again about this tractor rebuild on my landlord's tractor. And um, I figured I would show you and explain to you some of some more of the reasons how my landlord's tractor did not get rebuilt right, and why after rebuilding it, it's still making this knocking noise, which it shouldn't be making after if it would have gotten rebuilt right. And for any of you who might have followed my last videos, you know that, or you might know that he hired on one of his friends, and one of his friends brought his friend with him, who was supposed to be more knowledgeable and experienced in engine rebuilding. And these guys were supposed to be the older, experienced, knowledgeable guys in engine rebuilding. And they kind of got hired on to help rebuild the engine on my landlord's tractor. Even though I kind of started the job, and I got into actually taking most of the tractor apart and putting most of it back together, but I kind of got put into basically just being the helper and the grunt. And he hired these guys on uh, that were supposed to be much more knowledgeable and experienced than me, and kind of supposed to be the engine rebuilding guys. But I figured I'd do this video to show you some more of the reasons, like how the tractor did not get rebuilt right, and how there was so many differences in the way that I would do things than in the way that they did things, and so many differences in our knowledge level and experience level, and like quality of work level, and how uh, I would do things versus how they would do things. And that there's actually a huge difference in what a DIYer type guy like them would do, or what a guy like me would do, which I consider myself a professional technician, mechanic, you could say. um, I, not that I'm like any like super extraordinary mechanic, but or I don't even know what you would consider necessarily professional level. That could vary by people's opinion, but I have been an ASE certified mechanic, certified in like different ASE areas, like five or six. I passed like tests in five or six different ASE areas, and I've been to some college, and I have all kinds of book knowledge, and like have studied mechanics, all different types of systems on vehicles over the years. So I'm very well educated, studied, book learned, but I also have a lot of experience working on different types of vehicles, and working in different shops. I've worked in all kinds of different shops over the years and stuff. But I just wanted to show you some of the differences I noticed in working with these guys, and that they weren't at like the same type of knowledge or experience level that I'm at. And not that I'm any smarter or a greater, better mechanic than they are, because I know these guys are pretty knowledgeable about a lot of mechanic stuff. And the one guy that was kind of trying to control the job, he actually knows a lot of stuff, and he's fixed a lot of stuff for my landlord over the years. And he knows a lot of stuff that I don't know about different stuff, and probably the other guy does too. But you know, it goes both ways. You know, I know a lot of stuff that they don't know also, and I have a lot of experience that they don't have also. So it goes both ways. So you know, that's just how it is. You know, I'm not saying I'm a much better mechanic or a much smarter guy than they are. Just pointing out that some of the things I noticed that they are not, you know, super experienced, knowledgeable engine rebuilders or would do things or did things the same way that I would do them. And I would put them in the class of DIYer type mechanics. And as far as I know, they have never worked in shops. The one guy said he learned how to work on motorcycle engines a long time ago from someone that he knew, and worked in racing motorcycles and like motorcycle pit crews and stuff. But you know that still doesn't necessarily mean that you know he learned things from the basic fundamental level and learn things to do things the way that I learned to do them and what I would consider um, the right way or the professional way. But um, I actually wrote down a list of things and like some questions I had that I was going to go over and some examples of things that I noticed on how they didn't seem to have a certain experience that you should have if you're a knowledgeable mechanic or a knowledgeable engine rebuilder. And I probably can't go over all these things in this video because I tend to ramble about stuff. But I figured I'd just try to cover some of these things and show you that these are some of the reasons. You know, I know my landlord's tractor didn't get rebuilt right, and some of the things I noticed that these guys didn't knowledge that they didn't seem to have, experience they didn't seem to have, and you know, not that I'm a knowledgeable engine rebuilder because I'm not, um, but just things that I noticed and things that I noticed in how they things they did are not things that a knowledgeable, experienced mechanic would do, and things I noticed where, yeah, they just didn't seem to have the experience of a like a knowledgeable, professional type mechanic. But yeah, I started this out as a tractor rebuild differences between DIY mechanics and myself, a certified professional tech. Was the engine rebuilt right? And no, it wasn't. Are there differences in DIY mechanics and pros? Yes, huge differences. These are some I experienced. And one of the things I noticed is rebuilding the engine. These guys never mentioned anything about the camshaft or the camshaft bearings, which that's kind of a engine basic 101 type stuff. The you know the camshaft is basically like half of the engine. You know, you got the crankshaft and the camshaft, and that's basically the camshaft is like the second half of the engine, which you know operates the valve train and all that stuff. But these guys, the whole time I was working with them, I never heard them mention checking the camshaft bearings, which I would think they should uh, have thought about that and questioned that while they were rebuilding the engine. That you know maybe we should check the camshaft bearings, and they never did. I never heard them talk about it. You know, I thought about it, but they were the ones in control of this job, so that was up to them. And in their defense, I I won't go over all this, but actually on this engine to check the camshaft bearings and replace the camshaft bearings, you actually have to pull the engine out, and it takes some special tools and all that. So actually, my landlord wasn't going to pay for us to pull the engine out and pay to buy these special tools to install new camshaft bearings. So you know even though it never got mentioned, or they never thought about it, or never said nothing about it, we couldn't have done it anyway without pulling the engine and buying special tools to install the new bearings and remove the old bearings. But that's just one of the things I noticed that is something any good mechanic would know and think about. Basic 101 engine type stuff that you should check the camshaft bearings if you're going to rebuild this engine. But that's also one of the other things that I noticed is these guys didn't really actually go through the repair manual or follow the repair procedures in this tractor repair manual. And they actually didn't seem to even really know how to use a repair manual or actually the parts manual either. And an example of that is one of the guys was trying to look up the main bearing torque specs, and he was actually sitting in the truck here one day for at least like 30-45 minutes, maybe an hour, going through this manual. And he got out of the truck and he told me he couldn't find the torque specs anywhere in this manual, and that he'd looked through the whole manual and he couldn't find the torque specs for the main bearing caps. And I told him, that I knew where they were at. They're in the engine section, at the back of the engine section. And I opened up the manual and pulled it up and showed him, within a few seconds. But he'd been sitting in the truck for like 30-45 minutes, an hour, and he couldn't find the torque specs. And there's actually a little bit to that. He'd been drinking that day, and I guess he's like, from what the other guys have said, and his buddy said, and his buddy's son, and my landlord, the guy's an alcoholic. So I don't know, maybe he had too much to drink that day, and he couldn't find the torque specs. But one thing I thought about is, if you're an experienced mechanic, and you've done a lot of work and you've used repair manuals, which you have to use to do repairs right, you have to know torque specs and certain things. You have to know how to use repair manuals. And I started out using repair manuals, way back when I started. There was no internet or anything like that. You had to use repair manuals and books. And one thing I thought of is, and I can show you here, but if you're an experienced mechanic that's used repair manuals, the torque specs, all the specs are always going to be in the front of the chapter of whatever you're working on, or in the back of the chapter usually. Which this is a Chilton book on equinoxes. And here it is right here. Tune up and routine maintenance, chapter 1. Here's all the specs, capacities. Torque specifications. It's in the back of the chapter. And this is the engine chapter. And it's the same thing. It's going to be in the back of the chapter. But I got a Haynes manual right here, and here's some specs right here. I think Haynes actually does their specs in the front of the chapter. Yeah, right here. Here's the front of the chapter. Chapter 2, Part A, 4-cylinder engines. And here's all the specs and stuff right here in the front of the chapter. So if you're an experienced mechanic that's used repair manuals, you should know that the specs are going to be in the front or the back of the chapter, pretty much on all manuals. So that kind of told me that, you know, I don't know, either that guy was very drunk that day, or he just hasn't really used repair manuals. And there's actually a whole bunch more to that part of the story, that his other buddy told me that one day that he couldn't read and write very well, that this guy that was looking at the repair manual, he couldn't read and write very well. And I was like, really, you can't read and write? And he's like, well, I can't spell very good. And that led me to think, well, if you can't spell very good, then you know, most likely you can't read very good either. And so I don't know, maybe that's part of his problem, why he couldn't find the information in this repair manual. But you know, if he was an experienced mechanic, he should be able to find torque specs in a repair manual. And I can show you where they're at. This is the engine chapter, and you go to the very back of it and they're right here. So how he couldn't find them that day, I don't know. Maybe he had too much to drink. But both of these guys, I found out from the other guy, the older guy that tried to act like he knew it all. He actually had only a 7th grade education. He said that he never went to a day of the 8th grade because he ended up going to work on a farm, I guess when he should have been in the 8th grade. And so he only had I guess a 7th grade education. And he seemed to also have a problem finding things in the repair information. And he actually seemed to have a problem finding parts actually in the parts book. So I think actually that he also had a problem with reading and writing. And I can show you one example of that I noticed. Is we were looking up the radiator for this tractor, and he didn't seem to know how to look up the radiator part number in this book. And honestly, maybe it's not in this book. I thought it was in this book. Maybe I don't know how to look up the part number. But yeah, we were trying to look up the radiator, or I looked it up, and actually I don't even see it. Engine, I don't remember where it was at. I could have swore it was in this book, this parts book. Radiators and related parts. Radiators and related parts, 08A01. So go back here to 08A01. Okay. Was this it? I passed it, I know, but oh yeah, this was the this was the section we were looking at. And actually in these in this parts manual, it shows you like a bunch of pictures, but it can only list so many of the parts numbers on one page. Like it goes through 1 through 11 there. So then on the next page, it goes 11 to 20. And when we were looking up the radiator part number, he was actually looking at part number 16, which says it's the connection. Which actually, if you go to part number 16 right here, that's the thermostat housing. And that's what he was looking at, thinking that was the radiator part number. And he asked me, like, why is there so many pictures of the same thing? And that's what I explained to him, that, you know, they can't list all the part numbers on one page. So they just show you, you know, the same page here, same picture here, same picture here. But, you know, they list the different part numbers. So he actually could not find this part number. He did not know how to look up this part number. And it's part number 1. Radiator. And then it tells you if it was made before 985 or from 1085 after. But yeah, actually, I don't even see a number 1 on here, but that's interesting. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, the number 1's right here. It's a number 1, and then it has the lines going to the radiator, and this is like the bottom tank of the radiator. But he didn't even seem to know how to look up the part numbers in this manual, and he was the one actually responsible for ordering the bearings for the tractor. And actually, the first time he ordered the wrong bearings, and actually these also the second time were the wrong bearings, which I can show you. Besides them being what I think were the wrong size, at least on that one rod, the new bearings were actually, they're supposed to be this wide, like this one is, and they were actually only this wide. But they decided to go ahead and install those on the tractor, even though they were the wrong part. And he said he couldn't find the right bearings, that they don't sell the right bearings, the same size bearings for this tractor. So we ended up installing a bearing that's this width when it's supposed to be this width. All 3 rod bearings that got installed, the new bearings are this width when they're supposed to be this width. And you know, I mentioned that to my landlord and told him, you know, they're the wrong bearings, and you know, I kind of argued with the guy about that, but you know, I wasn't in control of this job. He was running this job. So that's another thing that happened on this tractor, where they actually installed the wrong bearings. Not just the wrong thickness bearings, but the wrong width bearings. So anyway, those were just some of the things that I noticed, and about them not being like experienced, knowledgeable mechanics in rebuilding engines. And you know, I could probably go into a you know, hours long videos on this stuff, and some of these things I wrote down, which I can't make this video much longer or my phone's gonna start wigging out. But there's all kinds of things that I noticed where these guys seem like not experienced, knowledgeable mechanics or experienced, knowledgeable engine rebuilders. And that's the difference between me and them. One of the differences between me and them, you know, I am very knowledgeable, and you know, I know how to use repair information. I can read and write, you know, very well. I know how to look up repair information. You know, I go by the manuals unless I know better. You know, I can look up torque specs. I can, you know, research information, whatever information I need to do the job the right way. And, you know, I have the fundamental knowledge, book knowledge, and experience of doing this stuff in a professional environment. So there was a huge difference between the way they did things and the way I would do things, and the knowledge level and experience level. Um, there was a huge difference. And, you know, not that I'm any much superior of a mechanic, but just a huge difference in the way things were done. And that's just some of the examples that I could show you on how things were done, and how the tractor was not rebuilt right. But I'm probably going to have to cut this video off, or my phone will probably start wigging out. And, you know, I don't know if I'll go over all these other things on my list. Uh, Maybe I will. But I think I'm going to cut this one off for now, and I will talk to you on the next one. Actually, I'll just throw some of these things in so you can look at them if you want to read them. Just give you a little bit more info on how this job was done, and kind of the skill level and knowledge level of these guys. But yeah, that's all I got for this one.